just start the recording now. There we go. And yes, all right. So for clarification, this is an assignment for my Communication of Social Change class. And the topic I have chosen is the religious movement of Satanism. So I have my guest here, Claudia, to help talk about that. Claudia, go ahead and give any sort of introduction you'd like.
Yeah, I'm Claudia Berdella. You can find me on pretty probably just go to Twitter because that's the only active social media account that I have public. Or you can find me on the Infernal Church Discord server, which if you're interested in learning about Satanism, you can join discord.gg/Satanism and just say that you found it from me and I'll make sure to verify you.
Perfect. Awesome. So Twitter and Discord. Perfect.
Yeah.
We can give the link at the end or whenever you're ready, just put it in the Discord link and your Twitter link if you'd like to do that.
All right, yeah. I
Um,
should make it very, very, very specific. I do not belong to any organization like the Church of Satan, which represents Satanism. I will speak on them, but I will not speak. I do not speak as a
yeah,
representative
on
for
behalf of
them.
them, right?
Yeah, no. If anyone wants something like that, they can find Bill M on Satan's Plane, which is a podcast that you can find anywhere you listen to podcasts.
I also have a few resources here on that exact same topic that I will just paste in chat real quick on the Church of Satan specifically. This was for my background research. And
Okay.
here we go. Yeah, so this is just the Church of Satan. Um, Here we go, and putting that in chat now. There we go, chat. There we go. Just a little copy paste, and that's all we need. All right, though. Moving on. So Satanism is your movement of choice. What motivated you to become involved in Satanism as a movement or as a religion?
Well, I just kind of, I read the Satanic Bible and I thought that it was very much a mirror of what I already thought and did, so I naturally adapted the label.
Right, perfect. And what made you choose Discord specifically, if you don't mind me asking? Did it just
Well,
kind
I
of
don't
fall
know.
into your lap, or did you seek it out?
I just kind of looked up, hey, I wonder if there's anything on Discord because I knew there was, the Satanism Reddit, which is an absolute cesspool of not much worthwhile.
Yeah, I've noticed that the
So,
Reddit is
it's
not very active.
yeah, so I was kind of like, where can I have interesting discussions on this? And so, I found Baffy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I found his old server and then I found An's old server. And I was on there for a bit, then the two servers merged and the Infernal Church happened. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah, it is pretty cool, honestly. All things considered, it's uh, quite astonishing because I believe you are at a couple thousand members right now, right?
Yeah, we're over 3,000 now.
Over 3,000. Very nice, very nice. And with the Discord server or with Twitter, either or, what kind of strategies, tactics, methods did you use to get the message of whatever Satanism uh, wants to wants to demystify? Because from my understanding, Satanism in modern contexts focuses a lot on informing and like I said, demystifying what Satanism is, kind of getting rid of the negative connotations. So what might have worked with that?
Well, we do have on the Infernal Church a very extensive F frequently asked questions list with wonderful answers. Then the Church of Satan website also has a great thing on, for that. And
Yeah,
I'll just usually if they're on the Infernal Church, I'll just drop the FAQ, and if it's on Twitter, I I don't know. I don't really usually it just ends up not being very productive on Twitter for
right.
that long.
That
So
makes sense. Twitter
yeah,
is a changing space right now. It's kind of hard to get
it's
anything
it's
off of it.
it's always been a cesspool, but it's fun.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that in the server, the FAQ you typically gets dropped either from your server or from the website itself. And then if that person's interested enough, they read through it and then usually come back with more complex questions. So I'm guessing that's where you and your colleagues do step in and explain a bit more in depth.
Yeah, you usually I end up
Yeah,
usually if they're already in the server, um, a person named Luna usually will. Um, she's pretty good at explaining it.
taking care
Um,
of any questions.
yeah, we can take care of any questions really.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so a lot of question answering and a lot of it's very much them coming to you with the questions as
Yeah, we
opposed
don't
to
see
right,
we don't yeah, it's not about proselytizing, you know. It's not looking to grow. It's not for everyone.
right,
It's I mean, it's called Satanism alone because it's not for everyone, you know.
right. Just by the name alone, I'm sure it drives a lot of people away.
Yeah.
Um, and so that kind of ties into accomplishments and rather what you hope to accomplish, what your goals to accomplish are. We've already talked about demystifying a little bit. And obviously, there is the secondary goal of growing the server, although you don't explicitly go out and recruit people. But other than that, are there any other hopes and hopes to accomplish for either your Twitter account or the Infernal Church?
I don't really have many goals for Twitter. I just see it as kind of like, oh, hey, this is interesting to use, kind of fun.
Right, more of
It
a
can
personal platform.
Yeah, it's more of a, if I type something up to my blog, I'll post it on Twitter so that people can see it,
Right,
that sort of thing.
for sure, for sure. I've also noticed that in the past you've had interviews with prominent satanic figures such as Shane Bugby. Um,
Yeah.
do you have
Yeah.
any other goals to get more people on the show, or
Oh
have you?
yeah.
Is there anyone that I'm missing?
Yeah, so I've interviewed Shane Bugby. He was the last person to interview Anton LaVey and be made a reverend in the Church of Satan by Anton. He's the last of the old guard of the Church of Satan.
Right.
I've interviewed Joseph Rose of the Hail Satan podcast and Satanic Delco. I've interviewed Damian Mays, who runs Reno Satanic and just did a reprint of The Devil's Avenger, which was the first biography of Anton LaVey. I've interviewed a guy that you should look up on YouTube named Forever Dirt. He does very, very extensive videos on numerous interesting subjects. He's very good for learning about something like fascism. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I've done
Yeah, for
those
sure.
interviews, and I do plan on doing more with more people. I have lists of people I'd love to interview and plan on contacting.
That's awesome. Yeah. Would you, okay, so I recorded Forever Dirt and Shane Buckby. Would you mind putting a few of those other names down? And if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, you also had contact with LaVey's daughter, right?
I have not ever spoken with Carla or Zena. I have, however, I did, however, speak with his grandson Stanton, and I have spoken in passing with Stanton's widow or wife, um, Sharon.
Interesting. Very cool. So yeah, just type in those other names whenever you get a moment, just for posterity's sake. Um, and then you mentioned that there was that Forever Dirt talks a lot about anti-fascism
Not
and
not anti-fascism,
just in
fascism.
fascism in general.
Yeah, he does very extensive deep dives on the topic. He has a really informative video called Why I Admire Fascism, and I honestly really couldn't agree more with his points in that video, but I'm not really gonna go into it because that's not what this is about, and I want him to get the views he deserves.
Right, I see. Okay. Well, thank you for that respect in that regard. Um, and then yeah, so then in that case, jumping back into other stories of people that you have met or moments that you have had with them to move the satanic religious movement forward.
What was that? I was
Oh,
typing in the chat.
just any other no worries, just any other fun stories or not necessarily fun, any other activism stories that that you have with other prominent people, or just doing it on your own, like any activities you've done on your server to boost relationships within the community, stuff like that.
Well,
But such as
on the
movie
Infernal.
nights, for example.
Oh yeah, yeah, we do a lot of movie nights on the Infernal Church. Those are really just more or less for fun. They don't always have anything to do with Satanism because, why spend all your time talking about one topic when you can just have fun, sit down and watch a movie with some people?
Right. And it
Um
also explores other values that you can then look at from a satanic perspective, similar to how Christians will similar to how Christians can't put, say, a Bible verse in TV, but they can make an episode center around Christian values.
yeah, yeah, certainly. Like I know a lot of people on there like the Saw movies and we watched those. Those are my favorite. That's my favorite horror franchise of all time.
Yeah,
I kind of find the whole idea of how much do you value your own life, and and also I find that idea very much a satanic one, seeing as Satanism is about self-preservation as the highest law, and one's own earthly success and happiness as the pursuit you
yeah,
know
certainly, certainly. Um,
and then the whole idea of retributive justice, kind of it's not inherently eye for an eye in the Saw movies, but it's very close with a lot of the people that John Kramer
it's very much
that
tick
plays
for
the
tack,
games. Yes, it's very much that, and Satanism very much advocates for lex talionis
right?
as means of preservation. So,
Do you mind going a bit more into the satanic view of self-preservation?
um, certainly it's you wouldn't it it's it's a ludicrous idea to turn the other cheek in some situations. It's counterproductive. You can if you turn the other cheek, you will let them walk all over you, you know.
Right.
Um, which and it's like you can cry do unto others as you would have them do unto you all you want, but if someone learns that they can pick on you, they will continue to do it. So, what Satanism advocates more, as opposed to turn the other cheek, is if a man smite you on one cheek, smash him on the other.
I see. So like another, again, like we were talking about before, loops back around for to the tit for tat.
Yes, very
As soon
much
as
so.
if you step against me, I step against you.
Yeah, and hit back harder just so that the other person doesn't do it again. And ultimately, it's just giving the other person what they want for their misplaced masochism.
I see. Interesting. Misplaced masochism. Quite a I want to say meta topic, but I mean it's more of a perception thing, really.
Yeah, it's very much misplaced masochism. So you're just giving them what they asked for, and if anything, the whole idea of eye for an eye truly does complete the idea of do unto others as they would have you do unto yourself, because the other person had done unto you what they wanted done unto yourself,
Right.
unto
The
themselves.
modified the golden rule, but a little bit modified.
Right, right.
Don't do unto others what you don't want done unto you. But okay, you've already done this to me, so I'm going to do it back to you.
Because you asked for it.
Right. If you want, if this is how you want to be, if you treat me like this, then the golden rule states that that's how you want to be treated. So I will treat you that way.
Exactly, exactly.
Very interesting. Very unique perspective on the stand your own ground idea.
Yeah,
Because yes, the Christian idea of turning your own cheek is very it's a very nice one. It's a very positive one, no doubt. But it can certainly be in specific contexts used against the person.
it's a nice ideal, but it's just not practical. It doesn't factor in si- all situations.
Right. It
And
doesn't factor in
obviously,
this life.
it's yeah, it's Satanism isn't advocating going around being a pretentious solipsistic prick administering justice to someone who maybe flat tires your shoe,
Right.
that, you know,
Yeah, very
it's
minor things
calibrated.
that are
It's
clearly not
it's calibrated.
right. Very proportional redistribution or distribution of retaliation. Proportional retaliation, that should be the term.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it.
Totally. So yeah, I just want to let you know that this is the 15-minute mark. This is exactly how long I said I would keep you for. So if you want to keep going, I'm fine to keep going. I
Oh, I'd
have
love to keep going. I'm liking
sure,
this.
sure. I have
I'm
one or
liking
two other
this.
questions just while we were here. Um, so then yeah, let's go into so like I said, Christianity doesn't account for this life, right? But Satanism does. Great Christianity instead attempts to account for the next life. And that's why it said to turn the other cheek, because God is going to reward you for that in the next life. So let's talk about why Satanism values this life a little bit. Why don't they, like, what do they think about death? What do they think about why you should or should not consider life after death?
Well, life after death seems to be more of a concept of control. If you do what these institutions are telling you to do, then you'll be highly rewarded in an afterlife. But if you don't, you'll be tortured forever. That's just a system of control for the masses. And I'm not going to say that I disagree with their tactic entirely because of the amount of people that I've seen saying, well, if we didn't have Christianity, people would be raping, pillaging, and murdering everywhere. And I think that's more projection of what they do without Christianity. So I'm very happy those people are kept in line and not out doing that.
I see.
Um, but I think, Satanism negates the idea of an afterlife because we really just don't know if there is one. It would be nice if we could, meet up with all our dead friends and loved ones, but there really just isn't any tangible evidence for it. And you can cry near death experiences all you want, but um upon death the brain does at times secrete a natural form of DMT. So I'm not going to place much credit on it as anything other than a hallucinogenic
Altered state of mind.
creative. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's a very interesting because there has recently been, and I mean recently within like the last 5 years, 6 years, something like that, uh, psychology research talking about how sleep deprivation is a very similar altered state of mind to other drugs in terms of what it functionally does to you, right? And
yeah,
so sleep deprivation is just a lack of energy, and ultimately so is death. Uh, so that's kind of it'll be interesting how research develops with not only sleep but also death.
yeah, yeah. And so Satanism sees, you have this one life that you can be sure of, so live it to the fullest, and you know, you know, earthly success and pleasure.
Yeah. If you had, are you familiar with the philosophies of Epicureanism and hedonism?
Yeah, I'm aware of them. Satanism does not advocate for mindless hedonism.
I was going to say yes. Which one, if you had to choose between the two, does Satanism lean more toward?
Um,
With Epicureanism
um,
being like getting joy from the building of relationships and the genuine experience of those relationships.
well, Satanism certainly advocates building relationships with those who deserve it and to cherish those ones deeply. It. What was the other one again?
That was Epicureanism. The other one is
Oh,
hedonism.
um, and it also says to indulge in life to its fullest extent. But indulgence and hedonism, I think, are two different things. I think hedonism implies a more self-destructive, compulsive activity than a simple pleasure.
Right,
It's not pleasures of the flesh once it gets to it becoming a necessity for you.
right. A necessity for you to function.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, when it comes to hedonism, I definitely agree that what Satanism describes as just taking indulgences is not necessarily uh, using a unit of hedon, right? Hedonism talks about using the unit of a hedon to measure utilitarianly uh, what the best option is by what brings about the most pleasure, right? It doesn't seem as hard and rigid as that. It seems much more what's the word? Fluid.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say it's much more Epicurean than anything
for sure, for sure.
hedonistic.
All right, yeah, awesome. And I believe that's all the questions I had for you today. So if you had any closing remarks or anything else you want to say, anything about Satanism that you find particularly important that we didn't go over today, now is your chance.
Um, you know what? I'm just gonna plug the book that's out that Shane Bugby did that I helped him with. Founding of the Satanic Temple, their secrets revealed. For the last 10 years, there has been a lot of lies about Satanism, and the Satanic Temple is responsible for it. Check out this book. It destroys any credibility the Satanic Temple has, told by one of its founders. It contains writings from not only Anton LaVey, but Peter Gilmore, Carla LaVey. It has the last interview with Carla LaVey. She's still alive, but she said she's not going to give any more interviews.
Right.
Um, it has it has a whole bunch of emails between the people who run the Satanic Temple and Shane Bugby, because Shane Bugby was one of the people who helped create it, and it just tells the true story, not the propagated one that you'll see in that one horrible film from 2019.
Yeah, the
Or
I remember that. I remember when that was being put out.
yeah, that to anyone who knows what a documentary is could can see that that is not a documentary. It's a propaganda film.
Well, certainly. So just for a little bit of background, I haven't seen the movie myself, but I do know that the main difference between most forms of Satanism and the Satanic Temple is that the Satanic Temple is much more politically involved. Uh, is there anything else around that that is vital context?
Well, yeah, the Satanic Temple isn't a form of Satanism. It's a way for two guys to make money off of useful idiots who think they're helping a cause. They aren't. And anytime the Satanic Temple has tried to do something, they have done nothing but cause the Christian theocrats that they claim to be against to double down in their theocratic efforts. Um, they like to proclaim that they're champions of abortion rights. They cannot get you an abortion, but I'm not going to say much more because they'll sue me like they did the TikToker, you know.
All right, interesting. Yeah, then I won't pry anymore, and I'll leave it there for the safety of when you post your own video.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, so look up the book. It's available on lulu.com. Amazon keeps taking it down for obscenity for things that Doug Mesner, who's the spokesperson for the Satanic Temple, proclaimed and said.
I see.
Um,
So a lot of conflicting messages going back and forth here. A lot of legal
yeah,
games being played.
yeah. It's very much not what they say to be.
Right. There's a lot
In
going on
life.
behind the scenes that the public just doesn't get to hear about.
Yeah, and they don't want you to hear about. It's very Ivy League secretive. It's Ivy League people that are
I see.
planning all this.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, thank you very much for your time and for answering all the questions that I had. You've been a great guest. And any final closing remarks? Other than
Uh,
obviously to go to and find the book, and also if anyone's interested in any of the people that we talked about, we will go over that real quick. That's Forever Dirt, Shane Bugby, Joseph Rose, the Satanic Podcast Delco, Damien Mays, and Devil's Avenger.
yes, that is correct.
All right, perfect. If that's all, then thank you very much.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
All right, awesome. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.